My name is Motahar Malik, and I'll be having a discussion with Brother Tariq about HBT. My role in this is for you guys to have an understanding of what HBT is. I'll be asking questions back and forth. I've been working with HBT for almost 6 months now. I've raised charity for them. I've seen the good works that they do. I myself is from Afghanistan. I have families in Afghanistan, and I know the great impact that charities have to the people. So people who are, they don't have money, they don't have like a house, or they're struggling to make ends meet. And so the charity HBT basically helps provide that. Our recent charity was about raising enough money to feed 30,000 people in Afghanistan in Ramadan, just to give them their fast. Now we have much more coming up. Tariq will of course introduce himself and explain what is going to come up. And he will also speak about his future goals, how HBT was brought about. So today will be a good information session. Thank you for obviously making this video with us. My first question would be just to introduce yourself, a little short biography of yourself, and what is HBT, so that everyone can understand.
Sure, thank you very much, Motahar. Nice seeing you again. So my name is Tariq. I am the founder of HBT. HBT was established in 2017. And we started HBT with the goal of focusing on education in Afghanistan, in the remotest areas of Afghanistan. Our focus was to target children, orphan children, to go to school rather than working in the streets, in dangerous streets of Afghanistan, and then hopefully we can change their futures through this, the opportunity, the education opportunity that we'll provide to them. So that was the main goal. So HBT is a 501c organization. It's a tax exempt. It's registered in the US. So all of the contributions and donations that are gathered or sent to HBT is 100% tax deductible. And so the other main thing about HBT is that we don't charge overhead fee. And the only thing that we probably will do is the processing fee for the money transfer that we do. That's the only thing. So we have a lot of volunteers. So we started with education in 2017, and then we have now we have a second division segment, which is the decentralized aid distribution, and that is taking about 50% of our time as well now because of the need in Afghanistan. We have a lot of projects we basically get into an emergency area within the 24 hours of the emergency. And so we've gotten to many provinces in Afghanistan.
So you started with children, and then you've now basically made your bigger and started helping everyone else.
Yeah.
So just to briefly explain what HBT is as Tariq mentions, help build tomorrow, right?
Yes.
And so you guys help out the orphans. Just recently you've been helping out people break their fast, and I saw a lot of videos coming out giving food to break their fast to all over of Afghanistan. Is it just in specific cities, or is it throughout the whole of Afghanistan? That's my first question.
So this is a key question, a very important one. We are targeted in more remote areas of Afghanistan, and the reason for that is because there's a lot of attention in main cities like Kabul, which there's a lot of aid going to Kabul. Not saying that there's no need in Kabul as well, because Kabul is a very big city with more than 5 to 7 million population. And so we do help our children, our orphans that we support, the 313 children and their families. That is a population of children or orphans that we support, and most of them are in Kabul, but we have some in other provinces. But our emergency response is mostly out of Kabul.
Okay.
So
yeah. Okay, that sounds good. Because my understanding is there's so many charities going into Afghanistan, and if it's just in the main cities, then you're right. Then the certain provinces won't be looked at, which is fair enough. The second question would be: so we've talked about where it's based. What is the overall mission of HBT? What would you like to achieve in 5 years, in 10 years, and then along the lines in the future?
Yeah. So my background, I wanted to give a little background of where I come from. So I work I worked in aid sector for a very long time. I worked with larger organizations, and part of why we started HBT is because of how ineffective larger organizations were dealing with aid in Afghanistan, with a lot of overhead costs and the logistical issues, not having awareness of the local reality, the ground reality of Afghanistan. So we started this because we are Afghans. Charity the non-profit is started by Afghans, and they know majority of our colleagues are based off in Afghanistan. Like myself, I'm in the US, but I'm in close connection with our volunteers over there. So we do a lot in a very minimal or least amount that we get either from individual contributors or whether it's institutional contributions from other major organizations.
Yeah.
So to come back to the question, we started this with the idea of making aid more effective. And our overarching goal in the next 5 years is that we make a school in each province in Afghanistan, which is like 34 provinces, and only target orphans. So through these schools in each provinces, we make sure that it's a generational change for the children of Afghanistan, getting educated. And so we will do a couple of things through this. One would be getting these children to getting educated will contribute to bringing the literacy level to a higher level in those remote villages in provinces. Number two will be to stopping the long-standing economical and security situation in Afghanistan, because you give these people education, these orphans that could otherwise be swayed by different frictions.
Yeah.
You know, you don't have a cover in a family. Somebody's an orphan, he's a prey to being misused by some ways. They get educated, you give them independent thought, they help their family economically, and they help to the contribution of those villages. So our 5 years goal is to have one school in each province.
Okay.
That is our five years goal, and then covering the orphans, 100% orphan powered schools, and the only students that will be studying it will be like kind of an orphanage, but having all of that advanced studying techniques and methodologies, making sure that we target them and get them educated.
Okay. One of the questions that was in my mind while talking about this is dual in every province and stuff like that. What are the barriers that you're facing right now to get to that goal?
Afghanistan is a country full of challenges these days. First of all, we don't have international recognition, and so that creates a lot of financial barriers for. So a lot of people they donate, but they're like, how do you get the funds to Afghanistan?
This is my question as well.
Yeah.
How do you get that?
So there's the way that it works with us is that we, whatever contributions that we make, it's done through intermediary banks that we have spoken with. I mean, there's a lot of challenges. There's a lot of transparency mechanism that you have to put in place. And so we are doing this with a lot of challenges through Afghanistan. There's a lot of verification that we have to provide. It's not like donating from the US to the UK or some other country where you just go online and send money.
Yeah.
If you send $5,000, for example, to Afghanistan today, it might take 15 days to get there. So we have to have a pool of money over there in Kabul, say like 15, 20,000, whatever, for a specific campaign that we're running, to ensure that by the time we get donation and it gets together and then go through all of those checks to Afghanistan, it takes a lot of time. So we sometimes do it through non-traditional ways where it's allowed by the government to send it to there. Okay. But it's a challenge. So that's number one challenge, to answer your question. Number two is the girls' education is another barrier for us. to send girls to school. Yeah, that's we hope that will be resolved soon, so that girls can go to school. So our current students are we have students in our group that we were supporting before 2021.
Yeah.
That are currently not going to school. That are girls that are in 7th, 8th grades. They're not going to school. That's another challenge. Then you have the logistical problems on a daily basis. You know, you have to work with local authorities for them to be able to. So our take on this is very simple. We don't want to associate politically. We're not political organization. We don't want to, be in confrontation with any, fragment or any sides, taking sides, whether it's Western or Afghanistan. Our main goal is to just help the children of Afghanistan get educated, and we want to make sure that we do this as best as we can.
Perfect. I want to talk about some of the projects that we're doing. You've already mentioned about the child sponsorship program and women empowerment. Can we just talk a little bit more in depth of that? So one of the questions we have here is, what is a child sponsorship program and how does it work?
So we go through, like I said, the difference between HBT as a decentralized aid organization versus an institutional organization that spent a lot of money on overhead, on security, getting money over there, paying a lot of salaries, is that we are very aware of what the ground reality of Afghanistan is, and we feel how the people of Afghanistan feel. And so to that end, I would say we go out there and we identify children, the child sponsorship program, and we then assign these children our signature card, which is called kindness card. So before we actually assign that kindness card, we send our survey team, a vetting team, which goes out there, find out these children that are orphan or working in the street. I'm sure you've seen some of them in our IG channels and other social media platforms. We identify the family. We see what they are making. Most of them are working in the streets, and then we also differentiate them between whether they are really going through the hardship or they are being used by some of these people that are actually using them as laborers, child laborers, and then they get the money from them at the end of the day. So that's kind of like a very sad situation. So we want to make sure we differentiate this, and the reason for that is because we don't have large sums of money or donations that we give it to everyone. So we have to make sure that we are contributing in the areas where there is a need.
So you have people in Afghanistan in the ground making sure that wherever the money is going towards, that money is going to the right person, right place, and the child is actually being taught correctly and not being taken advantage. So you have someone there directly.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. So we have a survey team. I'm sure you've talked to some of them.
Yes.
They're very passionate professionals. They've been working with us for years now. They go out there, they check the families, they want to make sure that everything is good. Once we do that, we talk to the neighbors, we assess the whole neighborhood and see whether it's real or not. Sometimes we came across a family where we found a family that was just there for temporary to make sure that, these schemes and stuff like that happens. Because a lot of the people that are forcing children to child labor are actually doing this in Kabul, that are using these children to bring them money at the end of the day. So they have a large number of them. That's a reality. And so we find out, once we find out, we go through this vetting process. We then assign them a kindness card number, and then we associate donations to their kindness card. So if you're an individual contributor, you could get a family from us with a kindness card number, and you could see what kind of change you're making into their life by sending them to school. And so that's kind of like in a nutshell the program summary. Once we get to that level where we give them kindness card, we get some guarantees from the family that they will not work in the streets. and that we will provide them the equivalent of the amount that they were working outside.
Okay.
So once we do that, then we have our education coordinator that is sitting in Kabul, a lead volunteer that goes and checks, enrolls in the school, we have certain schools that are in our database where we see the location and whether the location is in the vicinity of that student house, and then we match them, and the education coordinator then checks with them on a regular basis to ensure that they're really going to school and they're having.
Of course, this is very important. And you're saying that if someone were to donate a specific child, they will have reports of how well he's doing. And do you get things like because I know other charities do this as well, but do you get things like if you were to have an exam and his exam results, or if he's passed this year and he's going to the next year? I'm assuming you have something similar to this, or is it more internal where you're assessing it yourself? Because say this, for example, someone says, I want to donate to HBT and I want to make sure that my money is being spent correctly. How do I know if my money is going to the right person? Are you going to give me reports on someone that I'm sponsoring for this many years? I want to know what he's doing, what he's done. Do you guys do anything similar to that, or are you planning to do something similar?
Yeah, so the kindness card is a key number. The kindness card is like an ID that this child's family has. And so when you give the kindness card number to our team, they'll be able to pull out all of the information. And so we're giving these kindness cards because we're intending to bring on hundreds and thousands of students in the future. And so it will be very challenging to keep track. And so every one of these children have the number that whoever is sponsoring, they will know this is the child's number. And so then once you get that number, it gets all of the information from the database that's in our office. And it's in Kabul, but then it incrementally uploads to cloud, which is then
everyone can access.
Then going to the website. And so then you have your username and password, and then you have the kindness card number, and you have all of the reports over there for the children.
Perfect. No, that's good. That's perfect. Okay. Another question would be, how many children have been sponsored so far?
313 in Kabul and different provinces. We support their children as well. I wanted to add a small point here. We used to sponsor a lot of children, and we're just handing out money every month to their family. But recently, we've started a sustainability mechanism. We are targeting these students and their families, and see what their family could do. Who is in their family, whether it's their mother or someone that could do a small business that we can provide for them, like from home. And then they could support the child, and we provide the resources for establishing. And that takes me to the other program, which is the sewing machine program.
Awesome.
So that's like that's like we're targeting 1,000 women there. We've distributed 37 machines to these. Most of them are these families that have these children that we've first found in the street, and so now we're not giving them the monthly stipend. We're actually giving them sewing machines to the mothers. And
they make money.
They make money, and they sponsor. So it's like trying to build a smaller scale economy within that neighborhood.
That's beautiful.
And kind of helping that child. And you know, the biggest thing with this kind of approach is the dignity that it's like now you're giving someone a handout of like $100, $150 a month. It's just like giving them the machine. Then teaching them. So we're currently looking for other charity organizations where we're coordinating with them to see if we can make this to 1,000 women, and then provide them the training as well, and so we can research markets for them. So that's like our other sustainable approach that
that's beautiful, because I know majority of people, they don't like to get handouts. They want to make their own money. You're right. It's about integrity. It's about supporting their family. So I do understand that. I didn't know about that, and I think that's a very, very good initiative. Another question is, what is the monthly cost to sponsor a child? So
it depends on there are some families that are smaller. Let's say if you have a five member family with like a mother and 4 children, it could cost up to $100 a month for them to survive. And so to go to school, and also we provide the stipend for their family so that they can survive and he does not have to work in dangerous streets.
Yeah.
So up to $100
A month?
A month, yeah, a month. So for the entire family to have food and everything.
Okay, so $100 a month. Okay, and we're talking in like a year. That's like 1,200.
Yeah.
A year. Okay, perfect. So let's move on to the Women Empowerment Program. I have a couple of questions that we want to ask. Just get a little more detail in it. Explain. You've already explained it, but just explain one more time. What is the Women Empowerment Program and how does it function?
The Women Empowerment Program is basically a sustainability program where we, like I said, like we have some of these women are the mothers of the orphans that we found through our education program. Mm-hmm. But mostly what we do is we go out and find out through our teams women that are eager or keen to actually make money through sustainable sewing machine, small business, where we provide them the small business opportunity, providing them the sewing machine with all of the required materials for a setup, and then also give them a food package for like, let's say, a month, so that and give them some cash as well to kind of keep them going. We find these women and we give them the machine, but we also have to find out whether they have some basic skills of machines, of running the machine, and also marketing their product in local. So there's a little bit of a due diligence required in this process. But we find these women through our survey team, and then once we find them, it costs us about $181 for the whole package that we give to these women. Then our team goes there, set it up for them, and we then go every month to get a report and see what they've done with the sewing machine to support their family. Majority of the time, they support their family for their children to go to school and provide for their children. Again, these are breadwinner women. There's no male in their family, so we identify them. We just did 2 of them last week in Parman province, which are recently showcased in our social media. There's a lot of there's some good stories in that where we find them and what kind of things they've already done within the first 1 or 2 months.
Can you give us like one example of one of these women?
Yeah, there is, like I said, there's a district about 20 minutes out of Kabul. We provided them a machine, and then within a month we went there. They were already making the amount that the child was making in the street. So now the child could go to school, and the woman is making. And so this is on a smaller scale, because you give them the machine, they just sell the clothes or do sewing for the neighborhood. Like they announce it, a small board that we provide outside
advertisement.
Like advertisement or marketing, and then we just give that, and the neighbors get to know. They bring their items. They actually, majority of the time, these women are introduced by the local, like the locals of that community. They introduced them to us. Nice. They're saying, well, there's this family that are in a very bad shape. They don't have a breadwinner in the house. This woman knows, how to run a sewing machine. If you could provide them one, so we provide them one, and the next minute, all of the neighbors in that district or that village actually bring all of their work to them to help them out, and it's kind of like a mobilization of the entire village as well.
I'm assuming once she gets enough experience, she gets a good business, she can hire other people and make the economy grow.
That's another one that I wanted to get to. There's another woman that we gave her the machine, and now she has 4 more women that's actually we have the stories, all of them in our website. Majority of them are in our website, and so it's an amazing initiative. I think in the longer run, what we're going to do is once we get to 1,000 women, which is our current campaign, we've already started working with different other organizations where they are only providing training. So like their job is they probably got some grant or some project that they're just providing training, and so we send these women to there and get them more professional. And the next level could be where we start within our organization, our nonprofit, start a division for marketing their product, showcasing their product to be sold outside of their neighborhoods within Afghanistan.
Yeah, inshallah. That sounds beautiful. And you can access all this in your social medias and your websites to see. Okay. How impactful has it been, and what is the message from the women who have received the sewing machines, and how do they appreciate the initiative? So essentially what we're asking is, you've now given the sewing machines, you've just given 2 beautiful stories. What is the message from the women that have received it? Are there anything online that we can access to see their messages to us, as in for the people that have donated money towards them?
Yeah, like I said, each of these women, they have a card. Most of the women that got the machine have their stories in our social media, so you can see, and anyone that wants to donate or give a chance to another woman that could or change their lives, they could be involved in this process with us. Like I said, we're a decentralized nonprofit where we don't have like huge structure. We have a team of like 25 to 40 people right now, full time, that are volunteers again, and the difference between us and a large organization is that you could be involved in the process of changing someone's life, and so basically provide the opportunity, $181, and then be like, who did it go to?
Yeah. Which
woman? And then we provide you all of that information. We give you the card number, the ID card, the kindness card number. So then you track that woman and see what you could ask for reports every month, and see what's going on with their life. The goal is to find women initially, and I've been always stressing this out with the team as well, to find the women that are really in need of, and also hungry for an opportunity, because a lot of the times there is no opportunity, and so they send their kids to work outside because they don't have somebody knocking on their door saying, here's a sewing machine that you can use to make money. And so this in essence gives them that opportunity to do something that is in line with their dignity, and not sending their children to school, to outside and working in the street. So,
how do you vet what women you take? I'm assuming you can't just take anyone and everyone, right?
Yeah.
How do you vet? Is there a specific age, or you said that they're hungry to work, right? So I'm assuming that's one. But what is the process?
The survey team does a lot of vetting and seeing. Like I said, we go to neighborhoods through our volunteers, especially our female volunteers. We have about four female volunteers that go and check the environment within the houses of these women where they're living, and also ask around and see who is the potential candidate for this program.
Yeah.
In addition to that, we also look at, like I said, they need to be eager, or they need to be having this passion for doing something for themselves.
Yeah.
And also have the other thing is some level of understanding of sewing machine, because that program is the training program needs to come before the the actual sewing machine. And so we, at this point, in like 1,000 women, we are trying to find these women that are actually they have some level of familiarity with sewing machines. But in the future, what we're going to do is to bring them and professionally train them.
Yes.
So for now, what we can do is to just provide them to tell them how to use it and whatnot. But later on in the process, we will be giving them formal training as well.
Okay.
That's why that's needed right now, for them to have a little bit of awareness or acquaintance with these machines.
Yeah. Okay. Perfect. Moving on, I want to speak about 2 things. It's just a quick summary. You've already spoken about the humanitarian response program. So this is when anything happens, within 24 hours you're there to respond. If you could give me a summarized version of what that is, and you've already spoken of it, you mentioned it, just a formal one for this section. What is that? How many people respond, Is it volunteer based? Is it do you have like ambulances, stuff like this? So any kind of information that you can give to us about that, just for our viewers to understand what this specific part of the charity is about.
Sure. Like I said, we don't have a lot of plans for, like, if there is something happening in emergency, like a flooding happened the other day, our team is like right there trying to support and see the assessment, rather than comparing to a larger organization where they have to plan and then they say there's foreigners involved, expats are involved, we have to be careful before we go there. Our approach is very different and practical. Because we're locals over there, we just want to jump in and we want to help what we can. So our team goes there and assess the situation. In the next minute, we have a pool of funding that we allocate to whatever basic thing we do, and then we will figure out the donation piece later.
Okay.
So sometimes what happens is we get these donors that are actually letting us to decide what we do. And so a lot of the times we've got some funds that are coming that gives us the opportunity or freedom to use it in these kind of situations. And so that's another opportunity for people that want to help, but they don't know how to help. So they could enroll in our emergency programs where they just give a monthly, like let's say $100, and that sits there. In the day that there's a flooding, we just donate there. Or if there's like a refugee crisis, one of the major things that are happening in Afghanistan right now is 800,000 people are being deported or expelled from Pakistan. And so the minute they cross, a lot of them are stripped of their cash and everything in the border. They're sent with nothing. So on the other side, we meet them. We've helped thousands of people. Part of our previous campaign, where we were sitting in the border and helping people with food, with giving them blankets. At that time, it was very cold as well. And there's another wave that's started since the 15th of this month, about 4 days ago. So that's something that we're targeting right now. Now, for that, we need a pool of funds, because we can start the campaign, but even if the campaign goes and it reaches its goal, but if there's something that is constantly happening, you don't have enough resources. There's a lot of people that are waiting out there, so we can help out. So that's the main difference. We're always on the lookout of finding an opportunity where we can help. It's like a non-stop race to get to there, because we are Afghans and we want to help our people. So for us, it's more like helping our people versus like an organization approach to it. It's more hands-on and
it's more personal. Like people are there, they genuinely want to help. So you're giving them the opportunity to help, and those people that need help, they're getting the help that they need. Okay, tell me a bit about the cancer patient program. I don't think you've mentioned that.
No, cancer patient is a very important program. We have one of our key team member who's also based in the UK, Manuela. She's very active. She's been helping a lot. We have other people that are from different other countries. I wanted to actually mention major contributors to our sewing machine program. There's our team member Khalila. I think I showed you. Her, she's led this program. She's not been feeling well recently, so hopefully she feels good and be back, so we can accelerate this program. Then we have volunteers like 𝐃𝐨𝐧'𝐭 from Thailand, from Bangkok. What's that part of the world? In Asia, one of the Asian countries. So she's the one that is actually helping out. She's sent, I think, more than 15 sewing machines so far. And so she sells candles that she makes herself, and she sells it to her colleagues and friends, and then she gets that donation and sends it and gets sewing machines for women in Afghanistan. We have people like that are helping women in Afghanistan, and so she does this like part-time. And like yourself, what you've been doing so far. I mean, a lot of your work, you're just passionate in trying to help out about what you've done so far, and a great contribution that you've made. And so this, I think we're going to be, with the pace that we're going to be going very fast with our sewing machine campaign. So with the cancer side of things, So we have an enrollment program where we are identifying cancer patients, trying to do the preliminary diagnosis in Kabul, and then if we can't do something about it, our team is very good in getting them visas and trying to match them with hospitals in Pakistan, in India, in Iran. So we try to send them out there to the later stage of cancer. We're also looking into partnerships with different other organizations to give us the expertise. We have local partners in Kabul where we send our patients for the diagnosis and they don't charge them.
Okay.
So that's something that we, and then we are looking for international partners right now. We are in talks with some organizations where we'll get more expertise to provide that online backing to see what we're going to do with patients before we send it to Pakistan. We've had many cases. I think so far we probably have gone to like at least 10 cancer patients that we've helped in. And then there's other kind of medical emergencies that we help with as well. So, yeah, go ahead.
It seems like HBT does so many different things.
Yeah.
So if anyone wanted to donate, they have a variety of places, and I believe zakat is also applicable in this as well.
Yeah.
Especially for the humanitarian aid and maybe even the women empowerment, because it's supporting the community, isn't it?
Yeah.
I would say, just to share my own experience with HBT as well, my question would be, what is the satisfaction level of maybe the people donating, and what's the satisfaction level? I know we've already spoken about as a whole, what is the satisfaction and the impact? So what is the satisfaction result and the impact of your charity as a whole? So putting all of this together, are you getting you're mostly helping people, and there's just some people that you try and help but it doesn't work out? And in terms of donations, everyone happy with where they're going? How do you gauge that?
I think as far as our donors, like you said, our activity, if you go to our social media like our Instagram or our Facebook or our other social media platforms, you will see that there's at least one or two distribution every day. Like there's no day, sometimes it's Fridays, and I tell my team in Afghanistan that for help and contributions and donations and helping people, there is no Friday. Friday could be the real day actually to help out, because Friday is an off day in Afghanistan.
Oh, Sama, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so
living in the West,
yeah,
you don't get that.
Yeah, so it's like the Friday they're like, we have a day off. I'm like, no, there's no day off for helping people. That's the real day for helping people, because you get a lot of rewards in that day. But so once we get a donor, they just stick with HBT, because our team is very responsive. We give them whatever they need in terms of that intrinsic feeling that they receive from it, and then but our team, I think we could do a lot more.
Of course.
There's not even the limit for that. We are a decentralized aid platform where we are providing aid on a very individual basis. There is no structure to it, and that makes it real nice, because there is no bureaucracy or administrative overhead involved.
Yeah.
So I think in terms of donors, we've not had any issues with donors, but we're going to push for this more harder and help as many. I think there have been a couple of issues with our beneficiaries, because they were not cooperative. They were not cooperative in a way that we got funding for them, but then, like, let's say some of our patients, they go there and they spend more than what we think they should be spending, and so we have these kind of situations where we're trying to bring them, sit them down and say, hey, this is people's money. Exactly. You have to be careful with this. You might not be having this kind of money again, so it's your child. You have to be careful about your children. If this is donated for your children, you have to really spend it. Like one of my team members the other day said that we sent a patient to Pakistan where we had like $15 for like a lunch for two people. That's like $10 or $15 is a lot over there. It's like you have to go to a fancy restaurant and spend that amount of money. You could basically go, get that $10 and spend it over there for for your child or medicine or something, and just have something more casual. So, just to get by, or kind of be more smart about that. So then we sit and have conversations with them, and sometimes these kind of cases happen, but that's what we're trying to do to help out and get to the maximum beneficiary satisfaction.
Of course. Talking about all the projects that you've done so far, what do you think is the most impactful project that you, in your opinion? So, for example, you've got the child sponsorship program, you've got the women empowerment program, the cancer patient, the humanity aid. What do you think is the most impactful that you've done since 2017 when you started till now? What has been the most impactful, project that you guys have done?
So there's different ways to look at this. One is, if you look at this at a generational level, if you have a school in each province in Afghanistan and you have 500 orphans in there that would otherwise do something that's not very productive in their life, not get educated, but just like work in, like, let's say a factory or do something, or work in a shop as a young kid, but provide them an opportunity to study. 500 orphans in a province that is far remote, you're basically talking about changing that destiny of that entire village or province. Because I am an example of that myself. I just was raised as a refugee, and so going back and looking at it, had I not gone to school or learned, I would probably be in a very different situation. So my parents, and at the time we were refugees, there were not a lot of resources. So I look back and I see, if you educate a child so that's a long term. I think if we have these schools in each province and they're sustained and they are, we have a sustainable mechanism for it, and these children gets educated, I think we will have leaders that will serve their communities. And you don't even have to ask me or someone else from outside of that community to help them, because they will feel for their community.
Similar to myself, I was a refugee as well, single parent, just a mother. And if it weren't for the education that I had, I wouldn't have been able to support so many people or help so many people. Just like yourself, you founded HBT, right? As an orphan, as a refugee, so you feel that. So if you're helping out all of these people, they'll also feel it, and I'm sure they'll also be more than motivated to help out their community. So I get that. I think from the women empowerment program, I think as well, the sewing machines, from my perspective, if you teach 1,000 people, they can also teach 1,000 people. And we'll just go on, and then the economy will grow. But I do definitely agree.
I think you nailed that really well about what you said about the sewing machine. The sewing machine is a very key project for now. I mean, we have to also look at other sustainable projects as well. But providing opportunities to women that are sitting at home and not having the opportunity, it also lets them interact with other women. And so that is by far one of the most, in a short term, I would say, for in the next 5 years, that will create an economy, a boost in economy. So I would categorize both, like in a long term for the education side, the short term, not short to medium time for the, but then again, like we have to sustain this into a level where we create an economy from this. If we can't create an economy from this and do not train them and their products don't go to the market, then it's just a passive program. So that's where I would say it will be the real contribution. If we can get like 1,000, 5,000, 10,000 women across Afghanistan, they are doing things in that industry, the fabrics industry, and then you just bring them to the market and they're providing it. That will be something really good.
Agreed. So you got the long-term impacts, which is obviously these two projects that we spoke, and then you got the short-term, I believe, which is the humanitarian aid project as well. What is the message for the audience, for the viewers? What can you say to them to encourage them to visit the website and donate more? What is your closing statement for the audience?
I think we are probably one of the best platform for people to get their money to the people that are in need. And the reason for that is because we are very transparent, and we will give you the visibility to actually monitor the donation that you make by yourself with no overhead cost, or little overhead cost, because we do have some processing fee and stuff like that. But you will be able to see firsthand that you made a change in someone's life. And so once you donate there, then you will be like, well, yeah, I want to be part of this. So like you mentioned, we have the website hbt.org, or our social media at hbt_org, all of the social media platforms. So just visit, and once you get inspired by our, and see that we're really doing this by daily donations, like there's every day there's a distribution going on. Sometimes to a larger number, sometimes if it's like a sewing machine, it's a family's life being changed, so that's a big achievement as well. So there's a continuous distribution going on, and so just be part of it.
And helping people out is so easy. Just tell a friend. If you come together as a community or as just a friend, you have 10 friends and you all donate maybe £50, that's £500 raised very quickly. Or if you all donate £100 each, and that's like £1,000. That's a whole year of a sponsorship for a child, right? Where you support them and give them the education. And so this message here today, I would say, is to get involved. We have a whole team in Afghanistan, in the UK. We're trying to establish a team here as well, in America as well, where you are based in. And we have so many other volunteers all around the world. If you look at our websites and you look at our Instagram and all our social media, you can see all the impacts that you have. And so if you can donate, if you can volunteer, we need more and more volunteers. I believe that to make it more impactful. And you have any ideas, let us know. Together, inshallah, we can change Afghanistan and make it back to how in the past, I believe it was flourishing with, we had a lot of tourists coming in, it was safe, it was beautiful, and we wanted to make it beautiful again, isn't it?